again from backstage at Rockfest, Wisconsin 2018. I'm Lou Brutus. My old friend Chris Jericho from Fozzy is here. Chris, always good to see you, brother. How are you?
It's good to talk to you. And I think the last time we spoke was another festival around like Janesville, Wisconsin last year.
I was going to bring it up. I'm
Is that
surprised
right?
you remembered. It was Wisconsin at Sonic Boom last year.
Right, that's right. Lots of rock and roll going on in Wisconsin.
And cheese curds.
And cheese curds.
And cheese
rock
curds.
and cheese curds. And beer. Somebody gave me this just, it says drink Wisconsin. And I figured today will probably be the only day that I'll ever wear this. So I cut the sleeves off like a true rocker, and I'm representing Wisconsin.
There you go.
Today.
You're welcome, Wisconsin.
You're
Tourist
welcome.
Board.
That's right.
This cycle has been so incredible for you and Fozzy. I know you were surprised last year at it and the fact that it's still going strong. Give me your thoughts on it all and why you think it's continuing.
Well, I remember vividly talking with you on the bus, and we were talking about the success of Judas, the song, and that was before the actual record came out, and just how, you know, it was the right song at the right place at the right time. It went all the way to number 5, which, you know, in this day and age, a top 10 song is very hard to get and still also very valuable and very important. And that opened the door to Painless, which hit number 7. So now that's our second top 10 song. Judas is at 20 million views on YouTube, which is ridiculous. And all of this kind of led to... Well, let me just backtrack. We were on Century Media, which then got bought out by Sony. And I'm not sure if they had real plans for the bands in Century Media, but right when Sony bought Century is when Judas started to hit. So they looked at this band Fozzy, and they had some steam, and suddenly Sony is putting a lot of steam into us. So we're kind of like the darlings, quote unquote, for them, which now they want to put out a third single, which is going to be Burn Me Out. And in this day and age, to have 3 songs released as singles from one record, it's like the equivalent of Hysteria in 1987, where there was 6 singles, or In Excess Kick or something along those lines. And that's what we wanted. We wanted to do a record that had 6 or 7 singles. And if the record company decided to release 6 or 7 singles, we would have them. The fact we got to 3, I'm very proud and very happy about. And you can see the difference in the reactions. Festivals like this, our headlining gigs. I think we're getting ready to do our 4th headlining tour of the States on the Judas Rising tour. Going to Europe again, and this time playing countries we've never been in before, like Hungary and the Czech Republic and Slovenia, I think, or Slovenia, an S word that I've but I mean, that's what I mean, like so many countries are jumping aboard now. So it's a very, very cool time for us. And the coolest thing of all, Lou, is the fact that we've been waiting for this. We knew it was going to happen, and when it did, we're ready to strike. And so every show that we do, we know how to get people involved and know how to make sure that people have a great time. And no matter if it's a headlining show or a festival, people are walking away going, yeah, we loved Hailstorm, we loved Godsmack, but we never saw Fozzy, or we've seen Fozzy 10 times, but they kicked ass, and you know, we're one of the highlights as well. So everything kind of... This bitches brew, no pun intended to Miles Davis, kind of all had the right ingredients at the right time, at the right place. And here we are with Fozzy being bigger than we've ever been.
You mentioned Burn Me Out, which is the new single.
Yeah.
What kind of insight can you give to it?
Well, Judas, when we were starting to go through, it was going to be the first single, was my like pick. And it was, I went to war in a lot of ways with other people, you know, the Century Media brass and that sort of thing. And not that it was a bad war, but it was like, this has to be it. Debate. They went with Judas, goes to 5. Painless, which is a song that when I first heard it, I thought, that's not bad. The more I heard it throughout the process of the recording, I was like, this has to be the second single. Once again, fought for that. When it came time for the 3rd single, I kind of stepped out of it. I let the professionals be the professionals. And they sent... you know, a couple options to some very influential people throughout the business. And it was Burn Me Out and Weight of My World and Elevator. And all across the board, they said Burn Me Out's the one. And the reason why I think it works as a great 3rd single is the first song Judas and Painless, are both very dark songs. But they're very hooky and very catchy, but very dark. Burn Me Out is just a party song. When we started playing it live, that's the one where we bring girls or guys or photographers or whoever's around out on stage. Last night I just went right into the crowd and we sang the song from the crowd. It's that type of song where it's like a fun, and that to me is why it works so well, because it's the side of Fozzy that people who are just seeing our band for the first time haven't really experienced. They see kind of the darker side in the videos, which were kind of based like in a Shining type of a world, a different dimension with different things happening and different characters and things along those lines. Whereas Burn Me Out, we just filmed it the other day, and it's a party in someone's house. It's a house party vibe. Like, I remember when I was 18, the first guy that moved out of the house, and he moved into like this, apartment. It was kind of a little bit dingy, but it was a party place, and there was like, shitty posters on the wall and that sort of thing. And so that's what we wanted to do. It's the new version of Party All Night by Quiet Riot. If you remember that video where there's a house party and people are going nuts, and that fits the vibe of the song. So, it's one of those ones, like if this was a song by like 21 Pilots, it would probably go #1 on hits radio. Yeah. So I think it's a great kind of other side of the coin for Fozzy, and I'm just super excited that Sony has belief in us to put out a third single, because they could have, as you know, put the stop on this record and said it's time to do a new record, but they didn't. They said we can still get more out of Judas, and here we are, a year and 3 months into this tour cycle, and there's no signs of stopping. We're booked all the way up and through November already.
And it's one of those things, all of the little moments of kismet that have added up into this album and tour cycle for you, that Burn Me Out is also a great summer song. Like, if you're going to drop a single like that, July is the time to do it.
Yeah, it's put the top down and just drive, and it's got that cool bouncy riff and just a great chorus, and it's something that we did on this record that we haven't done before, but using Johnny Andrews as our producer and kind of writing the songs with him. It's almost the Def Leppard. I mentioned them twice in this interview. It's a trick hook where you think, okay, this is the hook, and then they throw another one at you. Okay, this is the hook, and then wait, there's another one. So it's based around 3 hooks, and that's why I think that all of these songs have worked, because you remember different parts of it. And Burn Me Out's got the burn me out, and then it's also got take what you want from me, and it's just burn me out, come burn. And so there's a lot of stuff going on that when you hear it once or twice, it sticks in your head, and that's why the other 2 songs have gone as far as they have. And I'm fingers crossed, hoping that Burn Me Out goes as far, if not farther, than Judas and Painless did.
One of the reasons I like speaking to you is you like looking behind the scenes at how people do things. You mentioned Def Leppard and what they've done before and how you can learn from that. You and I, before we started rolling, were talking about, I had seen the Rolling Stones in London, and we were discussing how they build their set list, what they wear on stage.
Yes.
When you see somebody who's really good, do you get to enjoy it, or do you meticulously sort of pick it apart to try and understand it and then better yourself?
A little bit of both, because I'm a showman. I've been in show business since I was 19 years old, and I've used, all of the tricks you can use in rock and roll and wrestling, and then took those tricks from wrestling, brought them back into rock and roll. I understand this is a show. So when I look at the Stones, it's funny because I saw a picture on Instagram of the Stones bowing after the show, and then a picture of Pearl Jam bowing after the show, and I actually took a picture of both and sent them to Rich Ward, and I said, band 1, band 2. And the Stones, everybody's got a great, colorful outfit. It's all designed. Keith's in blue, Mick is in red, Ron's in green, Charlie's in white, whatever. And Pearl Jam is 6 guys wearing t-shirts and jeans. This is my rock and roll band, the Stones. Yeah, I just like rock. Yeah, but I like rock and roll with a show. It's the same reason why Kiss to this day. Oh, Kiss doesn't sound like they did in this. Who cares? You go to a Kiss show, you go to see the show.
Yes.
And you enjoy that part of the show. Def Leppard and Journey. I love both bands. Def Leppard came out. They look like rock stars. There's scarves. There's jackets rolled up to here. Everybody's got, Phil Collins has no shirt on. Journey looks like, no offense, a couple old guys with a cool guitar player, Neil Sean, and they got Arnell running around. But there's a couple cool guys, and there's other guys that are wearing pocket phone holders on stage. I saw that once on a Journey show. So I always go for the show business aspect of it, because that's what rock and roll should be. Yes, you need great songs. Yes, you need an awesome band, but you need the presentation. You need, at least for me, I always loved the frontman. David Lee Roth, Paul Stanley, Bruce Dickinson, Iron Maiden on this tour.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And Bruce is doing a costume change almost every song. He always did it before, but this tour, He literally said, "I want an Aces High pilot uniform, and for the trooper, I'm wearing the trooper thing." And
that's
then
the jacket I would wear that. I swear to God, I would wear that jacket if I owned it.
But then the Fear of the Dark, he's got like a cloak and a top hat like Jack the Ripper. It's like everything. I'm like, and the Flight of Icarus, he's got a flamethrower. Like that to me is so awesome because that's real rock and roll. And people might debate me and argue with me, but for what I like, that's what I want from my rock and roll bands, you know, and so it does excite me, and it enables me to use, you know, we don't have giant pyro, but we've got fog geysers, and we've got a little smoke gun that doesn't do anything but blow these big plumes of fog. People love it. We jump off the risers in tandem, and Rich does a David Lee Roth. I can't do that. I do a big jump, but you know, those type of things is what makes it exciting. Yes, the band kicks ass. Yes, the songs are good. The crowd reaction is great. But you need to give a little bit more.
Also, you know, you can't just have a plume of smoke, fire. I mean, you can just sort of throw it out there, but when it's used in tandem really well with the songs, and tied to a particular lyric or a particular moment, that's when it sort of elevates all that. How much time and work and effort and thought goes into that stuff for you guys before you introduce a new element?
A lot of it. Yeah. I learned a lot from Kiss, and let me explain what I mean by that. When you go to a Kiss show, every song has some kind of a gimmick to it. You know, Love Gun, Paul flies across the stage. God of Thunder, Gene's up with the blood. You know, Rock and Roll Night, there's confetti. There's always, like, Shock Me, that's when Tommy has the smoke going out of his guitar. There's always something. And so every Fozzy song in our set has an element to it. And I think that's important because you're not just selling the songs, you're selling the band. And our shows... And I'm not saying this from an egotistical standpoint. There's not a lot of bands that keep the audience engaged like we do from song 1 to song 13, 12, 10, whatever, how long we play. I work extra hard to make sure that in between every song there's a Fozzy chant. And it doesn't take much to educate people. All you got to do is just hit your ear a couple of times. Dun, 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 dun. It's very easy. Fozzy. And so from the whole show, people are involved and engaged. I like that because especially when you play a festival, there's a lot of people listening, watching, like, that band's got noise the whole show. Who is that band? And we work hard, and you have to work hard at it, but every song has the element to it that enables the crowd to stay engaged. And that, to me, is the true secret of a great rock and roll band. You know, it's interesting. Today is the 33rd anniversary of what I consider to be the greatest gig of all time, Queen at Live Aid. It was a 22-minute set, or maybe not even 20-minute set, because I think 20-minute was the max that they could play. And you had a band that was kind of a little bit down and out, and they were slotted in the middle of the day after U2 and before, like, Sting and Elton John and all the biggest of the day. Yeah. And they were told by Bob Geldof, I know this because I've studied it, I've even talked to Brian May about it, go out there and just play the hits. I don't want obscurity, I want hit, 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 and come back off. And that's what they did. And Freddie Mercury took control. And at the end of that 20 minutes, Queen was back on top from a 20-minute set. And there's no pyro. The stage is hilarious when you watch it. There's a bunch of guys in white pants and white shirts filming it. And there's like people kind of hanging out. There's a couple red solo cups here, there. It's very hodgepodge. It looks basically like a rehearsal. But when they started playing, and they opened with Bohemian Rhapsody, which is weird, but they just kept going. It is a textbook lesson from the great Freddie Mercury on how to command an audience and how to steal the show.
I remember watching, I was working at Live Aid in Philadelphia.
Wow.
And some of the video grabbed the crowd and other things. It was really hot. It was a nasty day in Philadelphia, very hot and humid. JFK Stadium, which is gone now. But that Queen set, everybody just stopped. Everybody stopped in the audience. Everybody stopped backstage. And, you know, it's interesting to hear your take on that because I thought exactly the same thing. And I'd never lost my love for Queen, but they had really, really been sort of down. I don't want to say down and out.
They had, though.
Yeah,
Hot Space, they had the disco stuff.
Yeah, and in the United States, they really sort of lost their mark in that continues to resonate with people, that performance all these years later. The one guy I never saw live that I wish I had, top of my list, is Freddie Mercury.
Freddie, yeah.
Had tickets twice, had the flu both times, and thought, because they were tour monsters, I'm like, it's Queen, they'll be back, it's no big deal.
And you never knew. And that's like when we played the Uproar Festival a couple years ago, we had a 30-minute slot.
Yeah.
We had 30 minutes last night. Whenever we have 30 minutes, it's the Queen principle. Let's just go out there. It's body blow, body blow, body blow, body blow, body blow, punch in the face, see you fucking later, and you leave. And they go, what did we just see? What just happened? And it really, there's no down spot in that set. Therefore, there can be no down spot in our set. And, I don't think there's anything wrong. As a matter of fact, it's very important to watch the pioneers and the legends and the masters, and don't copy them, but take elements and learn from all of them at what makes them as great as they are. And if you can take all those little bits and bobs and put them into your own special soup, that's how your band will continue to grow.
Chris Jericho, you are an interesting human being and a hell of an entertainer. And I know I've said it before, but it strikes me as funny. I always forget you're involved in wrestling because I'm used to Chris from Fozzy. And then I'll be flipping through the dial and see you in front of 100,000 people, and there's 40 million watching. So very happy for everything for you. And
thanks, man.
You're a student of the game. Again,
thanks for your support, Lou. Thanks for your support.
Chris Jericho, Fozzy.
Aye.
We're backstage at Rockfest, Wisconsin.